Dancer back there in the barn says hello. Savannah's here, and she's going to explain harness parts today for a blog post. So I'm hoping that with this little blog post you can know which harness parts are what, which will make it a lot easier when you're shopping for pieces and you don't know the names. Hopefully I'll go over everything here. So Miss Savannah on her face has her bridle, and in driving the bridles are pretty much the same as riding. You have cheek pieces, the crown piece, brow bands, throat latch, nose band. Those are all the pieces that are the same. An option on your driving bridle is this thing right here. It's called a gullet strap. As you can see, you can have the horse tied with it. This is a Zilco gullet strap. Or it also helps to keep the bridle from coming off of the head. So it's good to have. Savannah has a fly on her nose. The parts that are different on a driving bridle than a riding bridle would obviously be the blinders. Some people like to call them blinkers. And then the wire up here that comes down to the blinders is called the blinder stay or blinker stay. It has metal in it so you can shape it so that it sits nicely on your horse's eyes. On Liverpool bits, which is what's most common for driving, this part here is called the purchase. Obviously the curb chain. Or the young lady who works for me, Chloe, she calls that the choke chain. So now Adam and I call it the choke chain, but it's a curb chain. This is the shank of the bit. You'll have usually 1 or 2 or 3 slots. First slot, second slot, third slot. You can also put the reins through this part right here. It's called rough cheek, or on the big ring, which is the snaffle. And then I have padded bit guards on mine. So obviously the reins are the same. They're called reins, just like in riding. So on the actual harness itself, this is an Ideal Equestrian WeatherTech combi harness. This is the brake strap. You're using that mostly when you're in a pair. That's how they brake the carriage against the pole. Also supports the front of the collar. Some people call that the neck strap. Some people call this the neck strap. I've also heard it called a shoulder strap. It's a strap that goes somewhere by the neck or the shoulder. So if you call it a shoulder strap or a neck strap, you're technically not wrong. This is breast collar. It's Hungarian breast collar styled versus English full collar styles. So then, just like in riding, we have a saddle. You can see mine's covered in pollen. This is the saddle. Turrets. This is the neck turret, saddle turret. This is called a point strap. Now, while all the straps on the harness have points, I always call this one the point strap and remember it because it's got a point on the end of it, which is really dumb because as you see, everything is pointed. But it's how I remember it. It's a point strap. This one's fixed to use with marathon shafts, and these are quick release tugs. They are not quick hitch. People make that mistake all the time calling these quick hitch. This is quick release. Quick hitch is what standardbreds race in. If you have a 2-wheel cart, you'll probably have just a loop one here. It's called an open tug. It's just one big loop instead of having the quick release mechanism. And if you're in a 2-wheel vehicle, you want this point strap to slide, and it's one continuous piece that goes over the back. So when this piece slides, instead of being fixed like mine is, it's called a sliding back band. You need that for a 2-wheel cart. My harness has quick release buckles here at the collar. Some buckle into the collar. Some collars are one big long piece that go back to the traces. We have the girth and the overgirth. The overgirth is going to be pretty loose. It's the last thing you tighten once you hook up to your carriage. And your driving girth does not need to be tight like a riding girth. It's just support. It's not like holding a human on. These are the traces, the long things that connect to your carriage and pull your cart. Savannah wrecked these one time. But these are quick release ends, they're D ends. They go with quick release buckles on the cart. I'll show you, if you have a round circle end on your traces, you need a quick release adapter like this. This carriage is set up for roller bolts, and I have an adapter so that I can use this harness with it. So going down the horse's back, we have the back strap, because it goes down their back, and it's a big old long strap, back strap. Hip straps, because they go around the hips. hold the breeching up. This is your breeching. B-R-E-E-C-H-I-N-G. It is not britchin'. It is not breeching like a breeching whale, B-R-E-A-C-H-I-N-G. It is breeching, B-R-E-E-C-H-I-N-G. It's like my biggest pet peeve when people spell it wrong. Also, autocorrect will get you with that one every time, so I have to forgive people when they spell it B-R-E-A-C-H-I-N-G. These are your holdback straps to go to your carriage and attach to the footman's loops. And then the part that goes under the tail here is the crupper. I think that's all the harness parts for today. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. I did forget this part. This is a false martingale. It does help secure the breast collar to keep it straight. I tend to not use it on a single. I put it on today because I wanted to have it in my video. With a pair, you need a false martingale so that way the pole can actually break the carriage. So yes, that's everything. This is an ideal equestrian leather tech combi harness. If you like it, I can order you one. This one, just so you have an idea of how long these harnesses last from Ideal, is 9 years old. I drive in it every single day. It doesn't need the pads. The only reason I have those pads on there is I'm trying to extend the life of this harness as long as I can because it's my favorite harness. Being driven in 3, 4, 5, sometimes 10 times in a day, every day, and it is still in this condition, which is pretty fabulous. I can also count on one hand how many times I've cleaned it in the last 9 years, and I know I never oiled it, and it's soft as butter. So I highly recommend the Ideal Equestrian Harness line. I can hook you up with those, and I hope this video on harness parts helps a little bit in your everyday driving and when you're putting your harnesses together.